everybody, it's your old pal Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. Today I'm going to tell you another story about growing up in the 70s and 80s with some crazy parents. This is another part of a longer story, and I've already done the middle part of this story, so I'll put the link to that video in the description of this video. So if you do like this video and you want to hear the rest of the story, you can go check that out. But this story starts, I was in second grade, must have been about 80, maybe 79, 80, in there somewhere. I don't remember a lot. My parents moved around a lot. They moved back and forth from Washington State to Florida many times. I went to many different schools from kindergarten on. I never went to the same school, like consecutively. Always the new kid in school. So it's hard for me to remember dates and years, like that. But I remember images. I remember the town we lived in. And so this story starts in a little town called Klickitat, Washington. And if anybody ever watches this video and you're from Klickitat or you live in Klickitat now, this was a couple years of the 80s, early 80s, late, like I said, 79, 80. We might have gone to school together, or maybe you might remember the time. We were living in Klickitat, and it's a small town. Back then, the population might have been like 150 people, 200 people, something like that. Very, very small town. Beautiful town, though. One of the most beautiful places I've ever lived. I loved it there. Absolutely loved it there as a kid. But it was so small and such a just cool and neat community there that we lived so close to the school. Well, everybody did. The town was so small. But we lived so close to the school that for lunch at school, during the lunch break, we went home. We walked home, ate lunch, and then came back to school. That's how it was. That was just the normal thing there. It was awesome. So one day, right in the middle of the school year, me and my brothers and sisters, we walk home for lunch. Well, we get home and my parents have the car packed up full of all our crap. They put us in the car and drive off. I've never seen Klickitat again. So they drive down to Portland, Oregon. We got to this place and my mother purchases a Winnebago, a motorhome, right? And I guess we just left our car there. Maybe she traded it in. I don't know, but we transferred all our crap over to this motorhome and we all get in it and head off. I don't know how the whole process was initiated. I wasn't privy to any of the information beforehand. I don't know if they had somehow planned it. Maybe they called on the telephone and called places and made the deal beforehand over the phone. I don't know, because there was no internet. She couldn't go internet shopping for Winnebagos, or so I don't know. I have no idea how she did it, but she did. So now there are six of us, mother, father, and four kids in this Winnebago, just living in it. And we go head down south, travel through Oregon, all the way down through California, get to I-10 and start heading east, and we get to Arizona. And I remember this trip because we would stop at gas stations and stuff, and back then they had these circular rotating racks of comic books, and at that age I loved comic books. Well, I still do, but I loved comic books, and I was collecting Richie Rich comic books. That was my favorite back then. I loved Richie Rich and his dog Dollar. I had a little stack of them back there tucked away somewhere in the motorhome. They were like 25 cents each back then, I think, and I would collect nickels and stuff until I had enough to buy one. And I remember I loved to go into 7-Eleven and spin that circular rack to see if there was any Richie Rich comic that I didn't have. So that was kind of a fun trip. I was a kid, no school. They took us out of school right in the middle of the year, just randomly, but still, it was like an adventure kind of thing. So anyway, we're heading east toward Florida from California along I-10, and we end up in the Arizona desert. And that is where the other video picks up, where maybe a few weeks in the desert, I think, we spent. Not sure exactly how long. We didn't have wasn't looking at the calendar and stuff, so I want to say it was a few weeks. Might have been longer, might have been a little less, I don't know. Then the episode in the other video takes place and of us our time in the desert. And then after that, I remember they came into town in Arizona. We left the desert for some reason. I guess they wanted to have dinner or something, maybe. I don't know, because we ended up in like a Denny's parking lot or something, the parking lot of some restaurant. This time it was dark, it was night. I remember that. And we're just sitting there in this parking lot. I think that my mom and dad went in to have dinner into the restaurant. That was their thing. They would leave us outside in the car, the four kids, and they would go in to eat. They would stop and get us McDonald's Happy Meals or whatever, and then I would have to watch the younger kids while they went in to have a dinner. You know what I mean? So I think that's what happened. But we're sitting there out in the parking lot, and I just remember people, like lights flashing around in, through the windows from outside. Lights start beaming through the windows of the motorhome, and voices yelling for us to come out of the motorhome. I was straight up panicked. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't, I wanted to protect my younger brothers and sisters. I didn't know whether to come out or what, but somebody started beating on the motorhome door and telling us to come out. And so finally we did. Finally, I did. I think I came out first and just told my brothers and sisters to follow me. It was the whole, like, there was a half circle of police cars, and they were standing there with shotguns, and they were cocking them, and pointing them at us and stuff, and lights shining in my face. And I come out, and I saw it was the police, so I put my hands up. 9-year-old kid. Anyway, that was all. I remember those like images and that situation, but the details are blurry because of all the confusion and fear and all that stuff. We end up in the car, in the cop car, and they end up putting us in foster care. So they split us four kids up. I remember that because my younger brother and sister weren't there in foster care with me, but my oldest sister, the one directly 1 year younger than me, she was with me, and the other two were somewhere else. So I end up in foster care, and I still not in school. I just sitting around there all day watching Electric Company and stuff. But one event there that stuck out in my mind is I was walking toward their couch, and their biological son jumped on my back, and I fell toward the couch, and I hit the couch like this, and this thumb rotated around and was facing back toward me. And I heard it break, pow, and that hurt. And the foster parents wouldn't take me to the doctor. I couldn't even lift my like glass of water or Kool-Aid or whatever. I couldn't even lift it. I had to start doing everything left-handed, eating and everything left-handed because my hand was swollen up. But during this period, my parents are in jail. And as it turned out, they stole the motorhome. They wrote a bad check for it. So they wrote a hot check for the motorhome and just left, thinking that, whatever. I don't know what they were thinking, what they were doing. Never really asked them about it when I got older. Didn't really care, to be honest. They're just crazy. So you know what? And not like, when I say crazy, I don't mean like, they needed to be institutionalized or whatever. Not, drooling in the sheets and stuff, but just doing bonkers stuff that didn't make any sense. Like this story I'm telling. It just didn't make any sense. And then you grow up and you look back at that kind of stuff and you're like, what were they thinking? What, where, where is the thought process there that makes this a good idea? Why, I still don't know why they felt they had to leave Klickitat in that way, just in the middle of the day, just bail. I mean, that's crazy enough to me now. But to then steal a motorhome and take off. I don't know. Like I say, I let go of the past. That stuff doesn't bother me anymore. It used to. I'll admit, it used to bother me. This stuff ate at me for years, but uh, I don't care anymore. It's funny. I can talk about it now, as you see. And if you like these stories, you can thank my wife. She's the one who talked me into telling these stories on my channel. So if if some of y'all get a kick out of them, that I guess it'd be worth it. But anyway, eventually a month or so goes by, and my parents get out of jail, and they get us back. So somehow I don't know any of that process. What happened? Never asked them. We were returned to them, and they were in a motel room, and my mom did, because my thumb looked so horrible, that my mom did take me to the doctor when I was returned to her and my dad, but the doctor said it's already healed and too much, and he would have to re-break it, and so they didn't do anything about it. So I had this thumb broken with no nothing was really done to it. A doctor looked at it, but it was too late. And this is the only that's the only part of my body that really gives me problems. It'll ache sometimes. That thumb, it'll hurt when I'm working and stuff. So that's the only lasting injury I have from that experience. But we ended up making it to Florida somehow. I don't know if they if they took off without finishing whatever they had to do there, and there's that they could still be wanted in Arizona to this day. I don't know, but it's crazy. Well, I hope some of y'all found this story interesting. Uh, it is true. I did live it. And if you put them together with my other videos like this, you'll see I lived a crazy life as a kid. If you would like to support the channel, I'm going to put a link down below where you can buy me a coffee. And if you do, thank you in advance. I really appreciate it. And if you would like to see the other video that connects with this one, I'll put that link down below. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like this about my past and my parents who were off the beaten path. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X. I'll see you on the next one.